in regard of yesteryear, and I might have spoken about this previously, actually might have spoken about this before. Look, I have actually spoke about this a couple of years ago, in regard of Recluse. I'm not entirely a recluse. I think if I was a millionaire, I could be a recluse. Now I'd probably be more active, I suppose, be getting things done, because it takes money to get things done. But I digress already. Using it, something that I didn't understand years ago. Someone that I didn't understand years ago. Is that fading? Hope not. It looks like it is. Do I have to go back upstairs and get a fresh one? Or can I continue with this? So, back in the 1980s, my mum's friend, Lona MacDonald, she had a husband, Bob. Bob was her husband. I'm worried about that life, but I think I might be okay. I'm tempted to duck upstairs and just, or is it just that when I keep looking at it and my face, it actually might not be fading. Bob was a clown. So back in the 80s, my friend Debbie went to public school with Debbie, and I think she ended up going to Canterbury Girls. Lona, they lived down in Campsie, actually not far from Harcourt, not very far from, literally a 5-minute walk from Harcourt School. And in fact, Deborah partly introduced me to heavy metal, the world of heavy metal. And she was playing with Black Sabbath when I didn't know that it was Aussie. Like, when I didn't know, I wasn't familiar with Aussie yet. She was playing with Black Sabbath, and she played me Rain and Blood. From the loss in the skull, they bleeding my horror, now I shall reign. Am I pretty? Now, I was dramatic back then as well. I was dramatic back then. I was. I used to put together 4-minute one-man shows for Mum and Dad. I used to like karaoke before it was karaoke. So anyway, that's going to run out, isn't it? Fuck. Down the avenues. Now, Lona and Bob. Bob was Lona's husband. He was in his 50s, about 55, maybe 60, and he was a professional clown. He did a great job. He entertained, do kids' parties and all that, and we saw him for a few times because Mum's other friends who knew Lona would hire Bob out for the afternoon to entertain the kids. He was a professional clown, did a fantastic job, and the thing that really got me at the time, that he would turn up to the occasion, be colourful. And in fact, one of his main one-liners wasn't even his, but he was, oh, you're a silly sausage. Oh, you're a silly sausage, aren't you? And he entertained the kids for half an hour, and he was larger than life. And as soon as that stopped, he'd be closed, completely closed. He'd become a complete introvert, and I never got it. I never understood it. Because every time you'd see him as a clown, he'd be larger than life. I'm telling you, he'd be larger than life. And then the moment the show was over, he'd go to being an introvert and just walk away from it. And the thing is, I would go down to visit Deborah in those days. We'd go down about once a week, once a fortnight. Go down to visit Deborah. Mum would go down to visit Lona, and I would go down with her and hang out in Deborah's room. But I'd also be in the lounge room sometimes, and Bob would come out. Mum would say, oh, is Bob home? And Lona would say, yeah, he's just in his room. He's in his room. He's in his room being a recluse. I didn't understand this at the time. Totally didn't get it. I was 15. What year was that? Probably about 1980. Hang on. 83, I was 10. I was probably about 12 at the time. 13, something like that. Right? Now, he would be in his room, completely to himself, and then when he'd leave his room, it'd just be like if I was in their lounge room, and he'd leave his room with his cup, go to the kitchen, fill it with his tea, whatever he had, go back to his room. But this was a guy who was it was a total 180. Like, he wouldn't mumble a hello to you. He'd simply leave his room, go to the kitchen, go back to his room. That's it. And I'm like, but he's a clown. He entertains people. He makes them laugh. He's larger than life. And Lona would say, oh, that's just how he is. He doesn't really like interacting with people. I didn't get the idea. I didn't get the philosophy back then. Totally understand it now. I think I worked it out when I was about 40. I was thinking back to Bob. I was like, when I started wanting alone time and being to myself, which I it was from the age of 20 onwards that I required that at least half the time. That's fading rapidly, yes, I know. It is. I'm going to change it. I'll keep this running. Oh, because it's going to change everything. Damn it. Damn it. It's such low light now, isn't it? Fuck. Oh, fuck. I'm going to go up. Alright, I'll keep this running. I'll go upstairs and I'll go upstairs. I kept recording. I've got the new light now. New light. Right on, man. Bob. Bob was about this tall, shortish, black hair, an eccentric tone about him. He was a bit of an eccentric guy, kept to himself. In fact, he kept to himself. But I totally get him. I didn't get him for years and years, but I totally get it now, totally. And he was not like a dark cloud at home, but just totally to himself, wouldn't say hi, wouldn't say anything, and Lone would tell, that's just the way he is, that's just the way he is. Completely understand now, completely understand. Because at the time I was like, why isn't he, I was like, why isn't he out, telling jokes and laughing and hey, how you going? No. I mean, you can just switch off, like you just sort of switch off and just, in fact, that's what made him more interesting. It made him really interesting, but he just, when he was paid to be the clown, he was the clown and had a totally different personality. When he wasn't being the clown, he was to himself completely. And geez, it was a big contrast. And I remember that. He passed Bob some years back. I think it was in the 90s that he passed. Yep, that's the ways of the recluse, and he sort of a somberness. But, I just totally understand him these days. Completely understand him and get him. Get that. I get that now. Totally. I like alone time. I greatly appreciate my alone time. Yes, I should catch up with my friends more often. I wish to do that. I just get caught up with things. I do wish to catch up with my friends more often. And they'll be like, yes, Pat. Yes, Pat. Yes. Yes, Pat. Yeah. Yes. Like my necklace. Pendant. My pendant. So, okay. It's nice. The clown and the recluse. And I wouldn't even really call it introverted. It wasn't introverted. It was just that's the way that he was. And when it was time to turn the clown on, he did so. And then when that concluded, he just back to being himself. And well, I mean, geez. I mean, I was down there to see Deborah, to hang out with her, right? Mum was down there to talk with Lona. I mean, Bob, he's 55 years. He's 55 at the time, maybe 50 years old, maybe 50, maybe 55. He's not going to hang out with teens. He's a teenager. He's not going to hang out with a couple of with a teenager. I'm sure that Bob had friends. Bob probably had friends. He probably had mates. I don't know. I didn't know much about him. But, he's not going to hang out with a teenager, right? And so he's just keeping to himself at home, which makes sense. That's what you do. It makes sense. Yes, a Midnight Charlie, man. and it's April 2nd, 2024, and autumn. Oh, we're in autumn now. We're in autumn. Daylight saving ends in about 4 days' time. I'm looking forward to it. I like it when it gets dark. I really like it when it gets dark early. I like it when it gets dark early at 5:30. I like that. Okay. Hello. It's the next day. I've got something to convey. Okay, Lona. So what happened was, it's the 3rd of April 2024. I got upstairs last night. I'm putting this video together. I'm watching it back, and I'm thinking, and I just I remembered Lona more. Now, Lona was actually my friend. She was actually my friend, in the sense of that she wasn't the typical mother that would not talk to her daughter's friends, that would not engage with the kids. I think some parents strictly no involvement with. I think this is more so for guys in a sense, but Lona wasn't the type of mother that was like, no, I'm not talking to your kids, I'm not talking to the kids, just my kids. She was not like that. Well, she wasn't a mainstream person. She was. Lona was a bit eccentric, down to earth, and when if I wasn't indulging in conversation with Deborah, like, I would talk to Lona. I had conversations with her, great conversations with her. She spoke to me like an equal, and she treated me like an equal. And so she'd always say, like, oh, hello, Patrick, how are you? And I would have actual conversations with her. Bob, no. But and also something really important is that, like, sometimes Deborah would have her music up really loud, and typically like perhaps in any other household, like house, and the kid has the music up, and sometimes the father might come and say, turn it down. Bob, nothing like that. Bob kept to himself in his room. Lona would be out in the lounge room, and it was a very old-fashioned house, built in the 1930s. They were kind of hoarders. It wasn't exactly a neat and tidy house. Everything was old, and very, very 70s, 80s house. And if I wasn't in Deborah's room listening to records and chatting with her, I would go out to the lounge room. So I'd go to the lounge room sometimes, and my mum and Lona would be out there, and Lona would just talk to me and talk with her. And also, if we were to visit other friends that Mum knew, Lona would be there sometimes, and I would talk with Lona. So I talked with, and Cheryl, Debbie's sister Cheryl, oh, she's a good soul. She was such a really nice girl. She was just a really nice girl. I was going to say and Cheryl's always younger than Deborah by about a year. Cheryl's always so nice to me. She was always good to me. And so you had Cheryl, and so it was Deborah, and very interesting conversations. And in retrospect, looking back, Lona gave me the time of day. What did I think about Lona at the time? Well, in my teenage mind, I just thought she was cool. But I used to have conversations with her. And in retrospect, later on looking back, yeah, she was cool. We considered her a friend. Yeah, and she was I think she passed somewhere in the late 90s. I just really wanted to convey that tonight. I went upstairs last night. I thought about it. I thought, oh, I've got to say a bit more about Lona. And Lona at the time, she was about 60, 65, and I was about 13 and 14, and I would listen to Black Sabbath and Zeppelin and AC/DC in Deborah's room, and when I wasn't doing that, I'd be talking to. But Lona was very sociable. We're in autumn now. Autumn. What was I going to say? I wanted to convey that thank you. I just wanted to put that in there. I've literally just turned I've literally just put everything back, and I thought I can actually tell you the address. They don't live there anymore. The house was sold years ago, but I can actually tell you the actual address. So you got Lock Street, Everline, but then you got Lock Street. You come out the railway bridge, you got Lock Street, Harcourt. There's a roundabout, and Lock Street, roundabout, Harcourt. Come this way, there's a shop, convenience store on the corner. Keep coming back this way along 9th Avenue, and the first street on your right. So looking toward 9th Avenue, looking along 9th Avenue toward Beamish, first street on the right, and last house on the right. So roundabout, other roundabout, come back up along 9th toward Beamish, first turn on the right, down, last house. It's no longer there, because actually I think it was about a year or so, I think maybe about 2 years ago, out of curiosity, I walked down there, and well, did I do it on Google Maps? I think I must have done it on Google Maps. So I was like, oh, it was demolished. House was falling apart anyway, but it was demolished somewhere in the 90s, and Deborah sold it when Lona passed. But yeah. This is the first time I ever heard Raining Blood there, on a very loud volume. And yeah, remember that.